What's going on, everyone? So, according to Viewer Anon, I'm pretty sure Sidney's daughter in Scream 7 is named Tatum. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Viewer Anon. If not, he is somebody over on X that has inside sources, inside information, and has been very accurate over the years. Now, as always, this is just a rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. He doesn't say confirmed or anything. He just says, I'm pretty sure, which means that could change. He could be wrong. So, again, take it with a grain of salt. However, this is awesome news. And if Viewer Anon is right, great. And it makes a lot of sense, right? This isn't something that's like, oh, that's weird. Why? You know, it's not one of those like rumors that seem far-fetched, right? Sidney and Tatum, they were two peas in a pod, right? Like that was her sister in a lot of ways. Just like Dewey was the surrogate big brother, right? Like they were, sisters from another mister, right? Like, and, she always struggled dealing with Tatum and whatnot, right? And then you even saw, now Dewey's gone. And it's like, it would make sense that Sidney would want some type of remembrance, right? Some type of connection. And it's just kind of that full circle type moment. Nice little tie back, nice little nod to the past, right? And it's something that I think fans would connect to. It's something that fans, I think, would embrace and enjoy, right? But overall, I mean, I'm curious to see if they go, like, if her daughter's name is Tatum, do we get some type of, kind of callback or just like reminiscent moment, right? This film is rumored, again, rumors, that it's going to be like kind of the 30th anniversary and whatnot. So if they do go that route, and it is the 30th anniversary, she has a kid named Tatum, right? Do we get this, like, do we get a couple emotional moments from Sidney? I wouldn't even mind, like, if we got, like, almost like a montage or, like, flashback of Tatum. And kind of got some scene, I mean, there's all kinds of, like, deleted footage and stuff. And it doesn't have to be, like, Sidney and, and Tatum. It could be, like, Nev. Like, you could have, like, some just behind this where they're just hanging out, right? Like, that could be cool in and of itself, right? I'm sure there's some archive footage somewhere that you can pull up and have a nice little kind of callback moment. Right, you can have this kind of, scene where, Rose McGowan and Nev Campbell are, whatever, eating lunch together or whatever, right? Like, I mean, there's photos of the two of them, not as Sidney and Tatum, but just, Nev and Rose just hanging out. Pull up some of that. I'm sure if there's pictures, there's got to be video, right? Kind of cut and slice it together, use some technology, and boom, maybe we get a nice little unseen callback moment. I think that would be something that'd be really creative. But obviously this continues to be a family thing, which, again, all we have to go off of are the rumors. And with, Sidney's daughter being named Tatum, and you have Mark Kincaid, and you have all this stuff, like, the rumors of, like, oh, there's not going to be a huge focus on the family, right? This is a Gail and Sidney-led film. The family's going to be in it, including Mark Kincaid, just very briefly. I don't like that idea. I'm not saying that you have to have them in every scene of the movie or anything like that, right? But I really hope that we get a look and a peek behind the curtain of Sidney and her family. Right? Like, I hope it's not something where it's like, we pick up with Sidney, Mark, and the kids, and, it's just like they're just going about their lives, and then a Ghostface attack happens, and then they go into hiding, and it's like, oh, we got like 3 minutes of them, and we got to see, maybe them like eating breakfast or something, and then Sidney goes and takes on Ghostface, and then at the end they're back together and they hug, and that's it. Right? Like, I don't want something like, I want some in-depth. I want to see, like, how is Sidney as a wife? How is Sidney as a mother? How is Mark as a husband? How is Mark as a father? Right? What are the kids like, right? Do they have a rebellious kid? Are all the kids incredibly sheltered, right? Is Nev a super controlling, over-the-top mom because of her past experiences, and that kind of creates this almost toxic environment, but maybe, Sidney's just oblivious to it because, she's looking at it as, I'm just trying to protect my kids, right? Like, there's so many different fun directions that you can go in the storytelling element of this upcoming Scream. And I really don't want them to drop the ball, right? Like, why introduce the family? Why introduce the children? Why introduce the husband? Why have all this stuff if you're not going to utilize it? Like, they gave us the introduction of Sidney and her kids, and the only thing we got was a kid in a stroller. But we know she has other kids. We know she's married to Mark Kincaid. Nev confirmed that it's Mark Kincaid, right? I should probably mention that because every time I talk about it, people are like, oh, how do we know it's Mark Kincaid? Because, one, it's been confirmed like 3 times. So, unless they decide to change it, which I don't think so, because everyone's basically confirmed it at this point. But, like, why set all those potential story plots up to not execute that? I want to see the children and Sidney. I want to see Mark Kincaid and Sidney. I want to see what their relationship is like. I want to see what their dynamic's like. Is it toxic? Is it crazy? But does Mark kind of understand, right? Does Nev have these walls and these, like, or is Nev just kind of free? Right? Is she just like, man, it's been 20 years. Like, why would I be kind of tripping on that? Because, again, based on the rumors, she falls into this tough mental state. Like, what is the impact of that on her children? What is the impact of that on her husband? Right? Is Mark a loving father? Is he a great husband? Is he, the perfect, just white picket fence guy? Or, is he a little brash? Is he a little, old school? Is he what? Again, we don't know anything about them. We don't know anything about Mark Kincaid, really. I mean, even going back to Scream 3, we don't know much about Mark Kincaid. Right? Like, we just know that he's a detective, or was a detective. We'll see if he still is a detective. But, he was a detective. He was a little weird, a little creepy. Right? Obviously, that was clearly just for red herring's sake. But, like, he seems like a nice guy. Infatuated with Sidney. It was a constant running joke throughout Scream 3. Right? Like, so I'd like to get a little more insight into Patrick Dempsey and, the character he plays in Mark Kincaid. I don't want it to just be kind of brushed over and it's just like, oh yeah, like, why introduce such a important story point? Right? Like, this isn't just like some throwaway thing. This isn't something that you could just, you just throw out there for fun. No, this is something that, like, again, Sidney Prescott dealing with, like, her having children after what happened to her family and her mother and, her trauma, the fact that she can even have kids, right? Because Scream has always been very, does it have unrealistic moments, unrealistic, like, movie logic? Yeah. But for the most part, it's based in realism. The fact that she can even have kids with all the attacks she's had and trauma and all that, like, like, what are her fears? Again, is she over the top and just trying to overly protect and, just kind of this helicopter parent, right? There's just, like, I don't want them. My fear is that they kind of just drop the ball. That it's like, oh yeah, here they are, and you get to see them all together for, 2 minutes, and then it's like, oh, there you go, right? Like, I don't want to see that. But I do like the idea of Sidney having a child named Tatum. I know that kind of got off the rails and I went another direction with it, but it is. I'm really excited for the potential of the story plot of the children and the family dynamic, right? And to have, a child named after your best friend who, was tragically murdered by her boyfriend, right? Like, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, Billy's the one that did it, but, like, Stu, like, Tatum in a lot of ways was Sidney Prescott, just she didn't make it. She didn't make it out. Right? Both were victims to their boyfriends. Both of them dealt with that issue. Like, and then also just the relationship that she had with Tatum and relationship she had with Dewey. It also sucks, though. I will say one point for those that made it this far in the video. Did Dewey ever get to meet Sidney's daughter Tatum? Like, it sucks that we don't get a moment of that. You know, it sucks that we don't get a... It would have been... You know how cool it would have been to get a scene where, you know, Sidney goes and... Or Dewey shows up and Sidney's with her kids and, you know, Dewey picks up Tatum. Like, that would have been such a great scene, great moment. I feel like there's just been so many missed opportunities. Like, I do. I just think... It almost feels like they get a great idea and they throw it out there and then they just like want to just get it out there, but they don't really like think it through. You know, it's like, well, we should do this. We should say this. And then it's like, but you didn't really think it through. You didn't think of all the things and questions and whatnot that would do for it. You know, so, but anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you disappointed that, you know, you didn't get the Dewey moment? Are you excited for a potential daughter named Tatum? Do you think, like, that's such a cool homage, callback, right? Again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. Love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.